Wow. Nice job there.
Can
DJ
you
Jazzy
dig
Vic.
it?
How's it going,
Can
everyone?
you
Welcome
dig
back to
the
Windy City
digits?
Digits. Saturday
I dig
night in Chi-Town.
Lots
Thanks,
of
everyone, for tuning
Chicago
in.
news.
Yeah, thanks everyone for tuning into the channel. We do appreciate it. And seems to be a lot, especially like not only the people on YouTube that are usual people, but everyone on Twitter. Shout out to everyone on Twitter and Facebook that's watching us also. So,
Yo, tweets to the peeps.
what are you, DJ Jazzy Jeff now? Like Rymat, Jam Master J? What's going
That's
on?
right,
here?
man.
The heck is
You
going
got
on?
it. You got it.
So what do you want to start tonight?
Lots of interesting stuff out there the last day. Like yesterday, I'm like, what could we podcast about? All right, so one, I've got a really big bone to pick with Scottie Pippen. Digit number 33.
Okay.
Okay, so Scottie. So did you hear about this?
Yes, I did.
Scottie Pippen says the Bulls don't have what it takes to compete.
Do you agree with that statement?
No, it pissed me off. I did not like this.
So what exactly did you disagree? What exactly did Scott? What about Scottie's statement exactly pissed you off?
Well, I think Scottie's selfish to begin with. So, I mean, I think he makes lots of statements in the last couple of years that are, yo, Crowley. Yeah, Scottie Pippen's selfish. He makes a lot of statements to make good news for himself or to get media for himself.
Okay.
That's one. And then two, I think Matt Crowley does the same thing. I was just kidding, man. I do not agree with you or Scottie Pippen.
So again, what is it? I mean, other than he says goofy things, like what is it about his statement that you don't agree with? What like?
What do I have to explain? They do have the roster to compete. That's basically it.
Now
that's it.
Did he say that was that to compete for the Eastern title or to compete for a championship?
I'd have to go back and read it more thoroughly.
Okay.
Coach, but I just saw it come across as compete.
Okay.
All right, so here let's post what Matt's saying. We're missing the athletic big that can hang. All right, this is a great point because we were going to talk about Vucevic.
Okay.
All right.
So I guess we're starting with Bulls tonight.
It looks like it, man.
Okay.
Well, yeah. So, but what do you think about Pippen and his comment?
Pippen over the last, I don't know, maybe last year, he said a lot of goofy things. He made a statement, I think, about Jordan, right?
I mean, he might end up being right, but I don't see that yet.
Look, I think there's he was on ESPN for a while. I think he was doing some TV, some broadcasting for a while. And I think there's a reason why he's not doing TV anymore.
He was doing some telly.
Yeah, I don't think he's doing TV anymore because I just think that unlike Barkley and unlike Kenny Smith, and Shaq, I think a lot of his takes are
a little bit too extreme.
I don't know if extreme is the right word, but they're very I don't want to say offensive, right? But they're
polarizing.
Attacking. Yeah, they're kind of
polarizing.
Attacking. Yeah, polarizing is a good way to put it.
Yeah, right? It's like when we did that episode about Tim Anderson.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Look. When Barkley says something, or Kenny Smith or Shaq, when they say something, they just don't put the statement out there. Like they back it up. Like they say, look, like Barkley called it early last year. Said look, the Lakers aren't going to compete because they're too old. Like, look at their lineup. Like he called it early, and everyone was criticizing him. Like, look, LeBron James is great. He's awesome. He's going to carry this team. AD is the most dominant player in this league. And
we even knew that. We even knew that last year. A couple years when they won it, I called them to win it.
In the bubble?
In the bubble.
In the bubble. Okay.
In the bubble.
So what else about the Bulls?
All right, so Vooch.
Okay, Vooch. Let's talk to Vooch about Vooch.
Let's talk about Vooch because Vooch's contract is going to be up at the end of the year.
Correct. He's in the final year of his contract.
He did have a down year in terms of his normal performance.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what Matt's kind of referring to a little bit. He had a down performance. We at times didn't. I mean, he was god awful at times, but his overall numbers of a double-double, I mean, how many centers actually do that in the league?
I think, like, if you look at the numbers overall in the league, like, he was, I don't know, third or fourth, right? As far as averaging those numbers.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's still a top 10 center. Defensively, not top 10.
But that's not what they brought him in for.
No, I know. They brought him in to widen the floor, open up the floor, right? Yeah. And he did have a down year in three-point shooting, field goal percentage. So, I mean, I can see that, but he still had a really good year. I mean, we're not going to find that many people who can do what he does.
So, like, the only other name that I've heard of that we might be able to go after that might be available would be Miles Turner. Would you rather have Miles Turner or would you rather have Vooch?
I'd rather have Miles Turner because, but, you know, I'd have to look at his stats a little bit with his outside shooting. I'm only going on that on the basis of his defense. He's a little younger. I've seen what he's done against the Bulls. It looks like he can shoot the three. I think I'd rather have Miles Turner.
Okay.
We brought him in before D Rose.
Let's hear what you guys think out there in Twitter and in YouTube land. What do you guys think about that? Would you rather have Vooch or would you rather have Miles Turner? I personally would rather have Vooch.
I'm going to do some research on that, man. Talk a little bit more why you want Vooch.
I just think from a chemistry standpoint, right? I mean, obviously he went to school with DeMar, right?
Yeah, I get that.
He's got the relationship with Zach. They were here when this thing started, right? DeMar, thanks, Crowley.
Miles
I
Turner's
just
only 25, by the way, just letting you know.
And I just think that he fits into the style of offense that they run. And they need him to post up, yes, but I don't think Miles Turner is a post up type person anyway.
Miles Turner is basically a 13 and 7 rebound guy.
So you need a guy that's going to get you double-digit rebounds every night.
But he is a 2+ blocks per night, per game. That's pretty good.
Okay, so 2 blocks per night saves you 4 points.
And he is about a 350 3-point percentage career-wise.
Which Vooch on an awful year is even better than that.
I think Vooch might have been around that last year. So
which was probably his worst year.
It was one. I remember talking about this in the season. It was definitely one of his worst. Well, it was his worst in like 5 years, quite honestly. He had a bad year in Orlando. Vooch, actually, career-wise, is 350. But he's had some really outstanding years of 400. Last year with the Bulls, he had a 390. Year before 400. But honestly, very similar.
Okay, so
his blocks are only 0.9, and he's a 17 and about 11, 10.5, 11 rebound per game.
Let me put this up really quick. And I'm looking at these rebounding stats, and this is a little bit surprising to me. So let me pull this up real quick.
Show me, man.
Give me 1 second. Let me just pull it up.
Yeah, Miles Turner can protect the rim, man. I would love to have Miles Turner.
So here's the top 10 rebounders from last year. Jokic was first.
Who's stuck in the mid-90s? Have we talked about anybody from the mid-90s? Or because we talked about Pippen?
Oh, yeah. Well, Pippen. Anyway,
Whatever.
Storm, we'll get back to that in a second.
I'm not getting back to it.
Thanks for checking in, Storm, by the way. So,
Storm
look,
says we're
Jokic
stuck
was
in the
number 1 in
90s.
rebounding last year. Gobert was 2. Capella was 3. Valanciunas was 4th. Vooch was 5th. He had more rebounds than Giannis. He had more rebounds than Embiid, more than Sabonis, more than Steven Adams, more than Cat and Randall. That's a little surprising to me. Like, I would have thought Embiid would have had more rebounds, and I thought for sure Steven Adams would have had more rebounds. Right? So he's still a valid top 5 rebounder in the league, right?
Yeah,
And
rebounder, yeah.
so I don't even see – look, and Mitchell Robinson, the guy that we supposedly wanted in the offseason, is 20th, right? So I don't know who you could get, because really what you really need is correct Storm, right?
Yeah, there's
I don't know who-
lot of
I don't know who
criticism.
else you could get that would get you those kind of, because otherwise we don't have any other. I mean, Andre Drummond, who happens to be on this list, is the other guy that we have to rebound, but he's only on a 2-year contract. You really don't have anyone else on this team that really is. I mean, Patrick Williams maybe eventually could be, but he's not brought in to be a rebounder. He's brought in to be, more defensive, more scoring. I mean, he could probably become a very good rebounder eventually, but he's still a 4. He's not a 5, right?
Yep. I agree with you.
I agree, Storm.
I don't know what he's saying. I'm reading other stuff.
Yeah, look, it's just I think Storm's right. Like, you see a lot of these guys, they want the big name, they want the big signing, right? Last year it just happened to work out, right? We got Lonzo. DeMar wasn't exactly at the time a big signing, but he turned out to be a great signing. We got AC, which again wasn't exactly a big name, but we were thrilled to have him,
AC
right? But the big name out there was Lonzo Ball, and we got him, right?
Yeah. But I'm still contending if I get a chance of Miles Turner and Vooch, I would prefer Miles Turner.
So Crowley, look, here's the thing I would say, Crowley, on this, right? What are you bringing him in? Like, you're not bringing him in. You're not expecting Vooch to be like a Jokic or, someone like. I mean, if you look at the other big men, right? Jokic isn't exactly the fastest guy. Gobert's not the fastest guy. Valanciunas isn't the fastest guy, right? That's not necessarily what we're bringing out there, right? What we're supposed to do is just rebound.
Even Simonovic is slow.
Yeah, rebound. Stretch. It's a stretch 5. If he can hit a couple threes every single game, 2, 3, post up a couple times in the game, you've got your scorers on this team. This is like the old. Someone made the comment, I think it was Storm. You go back to the 90s teams, right? Luke Longley wasn't a great center. Cartwright wasn't a great center. But don't talk
about 90s. It's too much.
They got enough. They got enough there to, because they let the other guys score. They let Pippen score. They let Jordan score. The same thing with this one. You got to let, the ball's going to be with DeMar. The ball's going to be with Zach. The ball's going to be Patrick Williams, right? He's just got to play defense. He's got to play something like he was awful in the pick and roll last year. There's no doubt about the tape. Look at the tape. He was absolutely awful in the pick and roll. He's got to be better in the pick and roll this year.
Hopefully, that was also had a lot to do with our perimeter, our guards.
Yeah,
I mean,
but hopefully
our good defensive guards were out.
Correct. But hopefully this year, with another year, running it back another year, everyone kind of knows what to expect. Everyone kind of knows where they're supposed to be. Hopefully this year will be better, because if it's not, then Pippen's right.
All right, so I have to clarify Pippen's comment. It was because the Bulls can't get past Giannis.
Well, that's where Patrick Williams comes in, right?
Yeah, but I mean, other teams got past Giannis because it's not just about Giannis, obviously. Middleton was out, and they couldn't get past.
Yeah.
Bulls refused to hedge. That's on Donovan, not Vooch.
Yeah, that's true. I'd agree with that statement.
Why do you agree with that statement?
Because that's the scheme. That's the coaching. That's what the coaches tell you to do. You're not going to deviate from that. If the coaches tell you this is our philosophy, this is how we're going to play this. This is how we're going to play this pick and roll. This is how we're going to play.
going underneath the pick and roll versus going. Yeah, but
Yeah.
that's how. Remember how Boylan used to say, "Go under the pick and roll," no matter how many times that they got burned.
And that just proves why he's not a.
Oh God,
right.
Storm, you're driving me nuts today, man. Somebody can't stop Giannis.
You know what? One of these days, Storm, I'm just gonna let you come on with Vic
on a team defense, man.
I'm just gonna grab my
Let's
potato
not
chips.
Be crazy. Did Giannis win the championship last year? So
I'm gonna grab my Trader Joe potato chips.
So somebody did beat Giannis.
Watch and enjoy this.
Yo, keep it coming, Storm. I'm enjoying this.
I'm enjoying this too. I'm gonna enjoy my Trader Joe's potato chips.
God, man, you're like one and the same with Carl. So he didn't win though, did he?
He still has a championship, dude.
I'm talking about last year, Schmo.
Well, they did crush us.
Yeah, we were pathetic at the end of the last year, man. I mean,
it doesn't matter.
Yes, it does matter. We had tons of injuries. They had Chris Middleton out. That was it. Scratch your head all you want, buddy. All right, what else are we talking about? Let's move on.
We're doing it live.
Talk about playoffs.
Move on.
Going to talk about playoffs.
All right, let's talk Bears. Because there's a lot of news.
Right.
There's a lot of news in the last 48 hours with the Bears.
Storm, you're right. Yeah. Yes. That's right. That's correct. And they didn't win. Milwaukee didn't win. Yeah, whatever.
He's mad.
I get annoyed easily.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
All right,
so a lot of news happened out of Hallis Hall over the last couple of days.
Man, every team there's news.
Let's start with Tevin Jenkins.
All right. I can't let this go. Just one more comment. That's not stopping Giannis. It's stopping the Bucks. It's stopping the Bucks, for crying out loud, man. And that's the goal. So if he figured out a way to stop the Bucks, to me that's stopping Giannis. I don't care. Yes, he could score all he wants. That's what the Pistons used to do. Right? All right. Yeah, Tevin Jenkins is back. Are we excited?
Oh, can I come back now?
Oh, hey, you went on a 2-minute diatribe about all the Bulls and the pick and roll and stuff. I sat there and waited. Go ahead. All you. Go talk about Bears.
All right, let's start with Tevin Jenkins.
Sounds great.
So I don't know if Kaplan was 100% wrong, but it's not a good look for Kaplan.
It is not a good look at all.
It's not a good look. Like, it's almost like he was trying to stir the pot.
No,
right?
But there were he wasn't the only one. There were multiple people talking.
But he was the first one to say it.
He was the first one. But other newscasters were saying the same thing. And they were hearing it out there. Oh God, Crowley. Boy. New Jay Mariotti.
Matt, I like Storm too. It's all good, right? Look, do you think someone had a conversation with him?
With who?
Tevin Jenkins.
It's possible. I mean, maybe there was a magic 360 turnaround. I mean, that somebody said, somebody tweeted, I think they were just being facetious, but they said, obviously, Tevin Jenkins is in great shape now and got it together in a week.
Well, look, they said he was hurt.
I know. Right? So supposedly there was still some undisclosed injury.
Well,
I agree.
It's not like we have to have an injury report right now.
I agree.
Yeah. Wow, you and Storm agree on something. That's
it's kind of like how when you and I agree to something.
That's pretty cool. So look, do you think this is going to help the offensive line?
Tevin Jenkins?
Yeah.
I mean, if he's actually healthy and the team wants him, yeah, why not? It should. I think most of us thought that he would actually be starting this year.
I think he still could start. They haven't had to play the preseason game yet.
It's possible.
You know, it's not like he's been holding out of camp. It's not like he hasn't shown up.
No,
I
I've
mean,
only heard about Braxton
Braxton
Preston
Jones.
Jones. I've only heard about him being in the left guard and Riley Reed being on the right sideline. I haven't heard so much about Schofield. Have you?
No, I've heard nothing about him.
Yeah, I haven't either. So I'm wondering though, like if Braxton Jones and you
Too bad
got
Skokes isn't here. Skokes could give us an update on that, probably.
and you got
So,
Reed on. He was only. I don't think he's there this week. But and you have Reed on the right. Where would Jenkins fit in? And is he just going to be? I mean, we don't have a great offensive line already. So like having extra people to sub in is great.
why are you being so negative?
Negative about what?
That we don't have a great offensive line.
Well, we don't.
I disagree.
We have a better offensive line than we did last year.
Like,
But we don't
until
have
we
great
play a
offensive
game,
line.
until we play a couple of games, the jury's still out on this line, just like it is on the
Jeff,
receiving core.
It's funny that we had this conversation before.
Jeffrey, what's going on, man? Thanks for checking in.
We've had this conversation before, and we said they were better. We didn't say they were great. Now
Well,
you're changing your tune.
No, you said that we don't have a good offensive line. I'm saying that
We're like the freaking odd couple. You know that?
I'm just saying until we play a couple of games,
Mhm.
we don't know honestly what we have. Look, they could look awesome in practice every single day and be terrible the first two games. They could look
doesn't
awful
sound-
in practice every single day and then light it up the first two games.
No,
Right?
that's possible. Yeah, but
So
it doesn't sound like the offense has things together yet. But that's
until
also
they line it up
because-
against San Francisco, I'm reserving judgment. I reserve the right to reserve judgment until they line it up against San Francisco.
You certainly do. And
Right.
I'm going to say that right now, as of last year and the guys we brought in, that our line is better, but they're not good. They're better.
I respectfully disagree.
Anybody else?
I
Jeffrey, what do you think?
let's see. What is
I think
this?
I think Jones has the left tackle spot too.
Which is the most key spot.
Yeah,
That's the most important spot on the offensive line.
yeah. But I thought I heard something about him getting hurt today, as well as N'Keal Harry.
Yeah. I don't know. How much do you think? So anyone doesn't know, N'Keal Harry got taken off the field today, needed assistance. Sounds like it's an ankle injury. Sounds like it's
Yes.
significant, but they haven't said anything more detailed on that. So, like, what do you think that impact is on the receivers?
Well, and I didn't. Did
Mikey,
you hear
thanks for checking in, man.
Did you hear Byron Pringle has a quad injury too?
I did not hear that.
Yeah, that's two.
But your favorite receiver, Equiminius St. Brown, had a pretty good day the other day, yesterday at practice. And
He did. The
I guess
St. Brown did have a good practice, from what I heard.
I guess it's
People
Velas,
were impressed.
not Velas, but I guess Velas Jones also had a good day yesterday at practice also.
He has.
Right?
I hear the wide receivers are looking better than people anticipated.
Yeah.
But it's literally just the offensive team not completely gelling. I've heard Fields being off on his passes too.
No, that's just building time and chemistry with the wide receivers. So,
Yep, and thank you too much.
Storm, what I've read so far was that he had to be helped off the field by the trainers and his teammates, and it sounds like it's just an ankle injury. So that's kind of what we're looking at right now. So
Yeah, that is also what I heard. But obviously that impacts the Bears. I mean, if he was going to be like maybe the third receiver, I would think so. You got Mooney, and then didn't we think either Velas or Byron Pringle being our second?
yeah,
Right. Or
we thought it was going to be
2-3 and-
Pringle. Yeah, we thought it was going to be Pringle and then Velas Jones.
Yeah, and then Harry would be that.
That
Yeah, I
fourth
hope-
wide out, or that
Yeah.
situational receiver,
Mhm.
right?
But I heard he was a beast on blocking.
So here's one other thing that I want to bring up that I read yesterday, which I thought was really interesting, right? Mooney brought up the fact that they're actually working on the scramble drill this year, and they never worked on it at all last year.
That is so shocking.
Well, is it shocking for Nagy?
No, not really.
Right?
It's just with a guy that's as skilled as Fields, to me, that's shocking. Like, why would you do that?
And supposedly the guy's a quarterback coach, right? I mean, like that's what his specialty is, right? For Nagy, right? His specialty is working with quarterbacks. And you would think him working with Alex Smith and Mahomes, who scrambles all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
You would think they would have at least worked on it.
I haven't heard. Have you heard Pringle falling on the depth chart? I haven't
really, to be honest, I haven't really seen a depth chart at all. I mean, other than Mooney being really the primary one receiver, I haven't seen anything as far as like.
I've heard a little bit about everybody, honestly. I mean, I've heard the most about Harry and Vellis Jr. Yeah, I know. He's got some good quips.
Yeah. Storm, you're slowly but surely starting to become a very vital part of the podcast. So, look, it just seems odd to me that they never would have worked on it, right? I mean, it just seems crazy. That especially with the
skills.
Exactly. That scrambles.
Yeah.
Right. The other thing I haven't heard, I have not heard anything about the running backs at all.
Oh, no?
I haven't heard anything about Montgomery. I haven't heard anything about.
I heard they're doing great, honestly. And then Ebner is supposed to be quite a find too. So, I mean, I've heard a lot of good things about the running backs and that they've been running a lot of plays for them. So, that should be good for Justin Fields if our running back team is solid.
You got to have a running game. That's what's going to keep that rush honest, right?
Know your personnel. Yeah.
KYP.
That's what Stacey King says.
KYP. Yeah, correct.
That is awesome, man.
Whatever his name is.
E pluribus unum.
That was pretty good. And then the other comment that Getsy made in his press conference is that he said that the tight end, God, why is his name slip my name right now?
You're talking about Komet?
Komet supposedly is like ready to break out, according to Getsy.
Yeah, Komet's actually, when I've listened to Courtney Cronin and Kaplan, they said Komet's having one of the better training camps out of anyone on the team.
But what did I say a couple of weeks ago? I said, like, look, it's got to be.
Do you need a pat on the back?
Look, every single team that has these mobile quarterbacks and that is successful, they have a tight end that is productive and is like a clutch receiver.
Yeah.
Right. Mark Edwards in Baltimore. Right.
Keep going.
God, I'm drawing blanks tonight. Maybe it's because it's
Kittle.
Saturday nights. Kittle in San Francisco. Kelsey. Travis Kelsey in Kansas City.
KC.
Right.
You're doing great, man. Yep.
So I got 3 so far. Right. But if those guys can like, if we can get Komet to have a solid year and to become the number 1 tight end, but maybe like the number 2 receiver or even the 1 receiver.
Yeah.
That's got to bowl well.
No. Number 1 receiver? If he's the number 1 receiver, I don't think that's good.
Kelsey is pretty much the number 1 receiver. Kittle is pretty close. Mark Andrews in Baltimore.
Mark Andrews, yeah.
Right? Waller's another. Yeah, look, Mike, that was a good call. Waller in Vegas is really good too. Both Storm and Mike called it, right? Waller in Vegas. He's another good, solid tight end.
He is, yeah. But I don't think it's a good sign that your number 1 receiver is your tight end, honestly.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying if he's productive enough to be your number 1 receiver.
If he's your number 2 or 3 receiver, I'm really happy.
I would agree with that, Storm. I would 100% agree with that statement. But let's see what like I said. Let's see what happens with this receiving core.
I wonder, did anyone draft Debo in the top 5 draft picks of fantasy football out there last year? Did you anticipate that he was going to be that good?
Debo?
Yeah.
No.
Neither did I.
I didn't. I honestly didn't even know who he was until like I don't know.
In our league, he was drafted in the 8th round of our league last year.
What, 2 years ago? I didn't even know. Like, what was it? 2 years ago, Cooper Kupp was like one of the last receivers taking in our league a couple years ago. So, yeah, it's like that Julian Edelman, like slot receiver type guy.
All right, so I do have some news. Byron Pringle may not. He was. I guess Mark Rohde I think he's either from the Score or ESPN. He asked Eberflus. Eberflus said Pringle could be ready for Week 1 with his is it hamstring? I said no, his quad injury. So with him out, and you got Harry out, Vallis Jr. man is your number 2. I mean, unless Aquamanius or whatever the heck you call his name,
Aquamanius.
Let's call him Aquaman. If Aquaman, maybe he's going to end up being your number 2.
Crowley, you're going to need to help Vic with his enunciation. Maybe you can give him some drills or something to help him practice some of his enunciation skills. Look, another thing is like a quad is much easier to recover. If it's a hamstring is much harder to recover from than a quad. The quad just needs time. But the hammy, you could pull it any single time. Then that's like literally like a 6 to 8 week injury if you completely tear the hamstring. Right?
Yep.
Thanks, Crowley. I appreciate it.
He's going to get a plan together for me?
He said he's going to have you talk to Toby.
Oh, my God. That's terrible. All right. Yeah, that's not good news, guys.
So, look.
Toby's like the kiss of death, guys.
I just think...
you know out there.
I'm not going there. Anyway.
So Storm is saying Mooney, Jones, and who's our
Aquamanius?
He said Aqua. Yeah, those are our 3. I agree with him. I mean, Daz Newsome has performed well, though. We did hear his name. I don't know how great.
Has to be in the mix.
So I don't know if he's. I mean, we heard his name like one day.
I'm calling right now. Daz Newsome is going to be the sleeper out of that group. Daz Newsome is my guy. He's going to number 83 is going to be the sleeper out of that group.
Out of Mooney, Jones,
out of the receiving core,
St. Brown is going to be the guy to come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Well, okay, that's kind of easy. Well, that's just kind of easy to come out of nowhere because David Moore, Chris Finke, Nizimba, Webster, those guys, Tajay Sharp, all of them would come out of nowhere. We barely heard about any of them except for Daz. So that's a good guess.
Where we're at, especially the way the NFL works with signings and trades. Yeah, look, and we've talked about this before, right? And we've talked this in previous episodes that they have a large cap space number for next year at the end of this year.
They do.
So part of this is not really committing to anyone long term unless they know for sure, like a Patrick on the offensive line, right? Those are the guys you don't want. No one else you want to commit to long term, right? Yeah, exactly.
I had nothing around. NFL
that's rebuilds
take longer. I don't know if that's true. I think people could turn around NFL teams pretty quick now.
In a couple years.
With the draft, yeah.
I think in a couple years with free agency and the draft, and if you have the right system.
Yeah, but I think you're right. I think that the Bears are hoping for next offseason to be that to give that extra push and be, a playoff team consistently next year.
Get maybe one or two stud offensive linemen maybe an impact edge rusher next year,
Yeah.
impact linebacker. Um, Someone said, I think it might have been Storm even or Skokes the last episode saying, you can get a running back at any time. Running backs used to go first round. A lot of these running backs that are successful now go like second, third, fourth round. So you can get one of those guys at that time. So, but we'll
Hey,
see.
did you know that Zach Levine is a first-time father?
Is about to be a first time father, or did his girlfriend or wife have the kid?
Oh no, you're right. He will be becoming a first-time father during
Yeah,
this year. Yep.
yeah. So I think it's going to happen before the season starts,
Yeah, I'm looking
which
to
is why he's
see.
been spending so much time in LA.
Gotcha. Did you see the Drew League at all with DeMar and the Paw? Did you see any of that action?
I'm just looking at it on Twitter here on one of my like 13 screens that are on my desk here. I see it here in the background, but I haven't looked at the actual clip yet. So
Here, you want me to show
I'm
everybody?
looking at it right now.
We can share it, man. This shouldn't be a violation.
As long as we don't play the sound, we should be okay.
All right, let's do that. I'm not playing the sound.
Yeah, you're looking at a different. You're looking at a different clip than I am, but
DePaul rejected it. Here's he is with the 3-pointer, being aggressive. That's what we want. We want him to be offensively aggressive. If he
what's
brings
the
it like he
one
did,
biggest thing? What's the one biggest thing you want him? Right. And I think Jeffrey, that Tristan Thompson is about to have another kid with Khloe Kardashian again.
oh
I don't know what that
man,
makes, but what's the one thing you want to see out of Patrick Williams? Like, what's the one area that you think it's critical for him to show in this year or to be an improvement? Is it on the defensive side? Is it the offensive side? Is it
defense. I mean, obviously, I think we want everybody to improve on the defensive side. So, I mean, but I don't think he had huge defensive inefficiencies, man. I think he was generally solid. He just needs to move his feet a little quicker against some of the faster wingmen when he's guarding those guys. Yeah, I don't know if that's his biggest area. His biggest area is we need that fourth scorer. He's got to be that fourth scorer on the Bulls, maybe even third if he can overtake Vooch. And he's got to cut to the rim when the other guys have got the ball, and he can't be afraid when he gets the ball to either shoot or take it to the rim like he had been doing a little bit more in the playoffs. How about you?
I think the biggest thing is that the kid just has to play confident, like in that little clip that we just showed, right?
Mm-hmm.
I just think that he can't be afraid to, when in the moment, like he's feeling it and he's taking over, kind of like how DeMar did last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Zach's on the court calling for the ball, but DeMar wasn't giving it up. Like he knew he was in that zone and he was gonna take over the game. That's kind of what I want to see from him. Like in those moments when he's got those streaks where he's running off 4, 6, 8 points in a row, and he's kind of feeling it. I want him to be more aggressive in that aspect. Right? Yeah, Storm. 100% agree. He can't be passive.
Absolutely. I agree.
Right. Exactly. I 100% agree with that statement. So,
always room for tacos.
All right. I didn't really want to talk too much about baseball tonight. The only thing I want to say with the White Sox and the only gripe that I have is that La Russa still cannot put together a freaking lineup. I don't know how you, with all those bats in the lineup, you put Grandal, who's batting like 195 or 190, second in the lineup. When you got Pollock, you've got other guys that have been Vaughn. You've got other guys that have been successful in that 2-3 spot, and you put Grandal at second. I didn't get that. So, yeah, totally 100% agree. He's sleeping at the wheel, and there's also something up with Tim Anderson. I don't know what's going on with Tim Anderson, but he is not the same player right now. He doesn't look it in the field. His body language doesn't look good. Something's up with Tim Anderson, and it's affecting that lineup. We should not be scoring a total of 4 runs in Texas over 3 games.
And what about this man? You got to give some of the Sox props, man, especially this dude.
Yesterday, I thought was going to be the one game he was going to kind of give it up and give up some runs, but he gave 1 early run, and that was it. He shut him down.
Right? He is fantastic, man. I was telling Carl before we started, Cease is having one of those seasons that Arrieta did when the Cubs won it. Yeah, but not only Cease, but Verlander. Do you see what he's doing?
Yeah, he's having a better year than when he won his Cy Young a couple years ago.
No kidding. So Cease is definitely up there for Cy Young award as well.
Yeah, and I think Len Casper made comment to it on the broadcast. I think it was today. Was saying that, you know, the only other time he's seen someone this hot was Arrieta with the Cubs. And was it 15-16? Does that sound right?
Yep, absolutely.
So,
and I agree with Storm on this one too.
Oh yeah,
yeah. If Verlander wasn't having the hot streak he's having, Cease definitely would be the Cy Young.
Totally.
He should have been an all-star. Who I don't know who told me before he shouldn't have been an all-star on one of these strands, but ridiculous.
Yeah. So, listen, we want to thank everyone, especially our regulars that are here, you know, with most of our live streams. Storm, Jeffrey, Skokes, probably not here, Crowley, Storm.
You make it fun.
Yeah, look, the reason we kind of do the live streams is because we want to interact, and that's kind of what we're about. It's not necessarily about us talking, but we want to be interactive with everyone that joins the stream. So if you haven't had a chance, just do us a favor, kind of share the stream with other people who might be interested in joining us and joining in the conversation. If you haven't had a chance yet, do hit the like button every time you watch the videos, because it definitely helps us out, gets us a little more exposure out there. Hopefully other people will be joining in the conversations. But if you haven't had a chance yet, hit the subscribe also and the bell to get notified on future episodes. We do appreciate everyone tuning in. We do appreciate you guys very, very much. Vic and I were talking about it the other day. It's kind of cool for us to be able to interact with you guys somewhat regular basis and just kind of have these conversations as Chicago sports fans. So thanks for tuning in tonight, everyone. We do appreciate it. We'll see you guys in the next video. Peace,
love,
and digits.